Yes, it is the post-game podcast. No Jerry Recco today. He'll be back tomorrow. So I've got the Eddie Scozzare with me. Welcome, Eddie.
Hello, podcast people, and I think we're back to YouTube person.
Yeah, it's not going great on YouTube, but we're
No.
just going to keep it rolling.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect us.
Sometimes these things take 4 or 5 years to
Yeah, a
get
couple
rolling.
years.
Yeah.
You'll hear that a lot.
Mhm.
You'll hear people be like, I did YouTube for 5 to 10 years before people started following me. So that's
Mhm.
what we're hoping for here.
Correct.
By the time I retire, we might have some actual viewers
Yes.
on the YouTube.
And then you can keep going
Yes.
from in your retirement.
Yeah, then I'll start, but then I'd have to start fresh, not on a company feed, and I'd have to start over again. Probably
But,
take another 5 to 10 years.
I mean, you can announce it on the then popular feed.
Yeah, that's true. I could give that a shot.
Yeah.
So one of the things that you have done in your life, which I have looked into, and I just want to ask you some questions about this.
All righty.
So, we all have home internet. We have the cable home internet. Some
Mhm.
people have like Optimum or some other cable. Some people have Verizon Fios, but there are things now 5G home internet. I know T-Mobile does 5G
Mhm.
home internet, Verizon does 5G home internet. And you switch to one of these 5G home internets.
Yes, T-Mobile.
It's like for me it would be half price of what I'm paying for my cable.
Mhm.
So I'm like looking into it because I'm like, that seems reasonable. And you said like you stream football games and things,
Yes.
and you haven't not run into a problem.
I have not. No.
Yeah. And I was even asked somebody on the Bradley Beach message board. I said, "Oh, does anybody here in town use this? Have you noticed a difference?" And all people were like, "Why would you choose Wi-Fi or a cell phone signal versus a wired internet?" I was like, "Well, because it's cheaper.
Right.
And if it's working the same, why would I not do that?"
Mhm.
My question to you, though, is Eddie, there are people who believe that 5G is bad for our bodies. Have you heard of such things?
Yes. I thought it was back in the early days of COVID that the 5G was the cause of COVID
Oh, right. I did hear that as well.
because that makes scientific sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a weird one.
Mhm.
But I have also heard that people think 5G, this was even, I think, prior to the COVID thing
Mhm.
or different than the 5G's giving us COVID, just that 5G is not good for us. But my quite problem is though, is like we all have cell phones that have 5G. So
Yes.
wouldn't it already be bouncing around in our bodies?
Yeah, you would think, and I've heard since I guess it was the late '90s when almost everyone started to have cell phones that that in itself, and I guess it's just, as the cell phones have gotten better and better and the whatever we went from 3G, 4G, 5G, that those signals bouncing around were not good for us. So this has been as long as we've had cell phones. You've heard this.
Yeah. You know what's weird too? In between the different G's that you were just mentioning,
Mhm.
there was LTE,
Mhm.
which was supposed to be very good.
And occasionally you see that on your phone if you lose your like if you get out of the
Yeah.
5G area, I'll see LTE pop up.
But now when LTE pops up, I feel like I get a weaker signal.
Yeah, you do.
But LTE we used to be like the creme de la creme of
Right.
the signals, but now 5G is.
Yeah. Well, look at your standard def, television used to be, oh wow, this picture is great. And then you saw HD, it's like, oh my God,
Yeah.
what was I looking at
Yeah.
before?
Well, I'll run into that too. Like I saw a video of a musical performance from Letterman from
Hmm.
the NBC show somebody had on YouTube, and they must have taken it off their VHS. You cannot make out the faces of the people in the band.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And that was perfectly fine for us
Yeah. We
a
we
couple of
just
years ago.
because that's what we knew.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, here's a moving image of something that I'm not there for, but yet I can see it. Wow.
Yeah, now it needs to be crystal clear. We're like, "What
Yes.
is this?"
And then the next thing will be some sort of a projected hologram,
Yeah.
a fully immersive 3D situation.
Yeah.
Eh, That'll be the next television.
Regarding this 5G,
Hmm.
people being scared of 5G, I feel like people fall into I guess 3 categories. There are people that believe everything, um, like there are people that believe everything we're being told is a lie.
Mhm.
Okay, such as people say 5G is safe. That's a lie. They're lying to you. 5G is very dangerous.
Mhm.
Then there are people that believe everything they're told, right? So the FDA approves this food. This food's good for you. There's nothing to worry about. If it were bad, the FDA wouldn't have approved, food dyes, for
Mhm.
example. And then there are, I guess, people in the middle. Where do you think you fall in there? Do you tend to believe like if a government agency approves something that they've done the research, or do you more on the side where you don't trust anything, or
I would say I'm in the middle.
in the middle
I
somewhere?
I don't believe everything. I believe some things, um, but I'm not like worried about it
Yeah.
because we're all gonna die someday. So
It does seem like if the FDA approves something, that should be safe.
you would think, but sometimes then new information becomes available, new research, new
Yeah.
science that are like, oh, we were wrong about this.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I was someone who was very trusting. I believed like if the FDA approves, red food dye, then it can't be that bad for you,
Hmm.
or they wouldn't have approved it. They would have said, no, this is no
Right.
good. Um, and then and now I think I kind of lean more towards things seem like, how are you trying to trick me? Especially like if money's involved in something.
Oh, for sure.
I question things when money's
Yeah.
involved.
Let's push this through and
Yeah.
rubber stamp it because there's this pharma company or this food company
Yeah.
is paying us off and they're going to make billions.
Yes. Yeah. I
So,
start to like question, like, if this is making money for somebody
mhm,
automatically, like then something seems like that doesn't seem right.
yeah, follow the money.
Yeah, follow the money, and that sucks. Like that we actually like they'll put large organizations will put people in harm's way for the profit
Hmm. Oh, for sure.
of the company, right?
Right. But that's always been the way.
Yeah,
You go back into antiquity and people were, you know, money, power, land, whatever it is, screwing people over in order to make them their own situation better.
yeah,
That's just the human condition, sadly.
yeah. It stinks.
Now, the other human condition is that we do cooperate with one another and achieve great things, but there are two sides to the story.
Yeah, I want just one side to the story.
Yeah, well,
All good men behaving nicely towards each other.
yeah, you would like that to be, but that's sort of a utopian ideal, which
Yeah,
is probably never going to happen.
it is utopian.
Hmm. And just like that game you and I used to play on in television.
In television, Utopia.
Yeah.
That was a tremendous game where you would each get an island,
Hmm.
and then you would have to I think you earned points by like if you grew crops,
Hmm.
right? You'd have some money to begin with.
Correct.
Then you can choose to build crops on your island where it rains.
Right.
And when the rain would come through, your crops would get watered, you get more
Right.
points.
And then you would build housing for your people.
You could build housing for your people, a hospital,
Yes.
a factory so people could go to work.
Hmm.
But if you built too many factories,
No good.
you were polluting your island.
Correct. And then there would be these little warships that would come
Yeah.
and attack you. And if you did a bad job in managing your island, then the rebel little icon would pop up and there
Yeah.
would be a revolution.
And then occasionally a hurricane would come through
Yes,
and it would
wipe out your
right.
hospital, your crops.
And the hospitals were very expensive to purchase in the
Yes.
game. If you
Uh-huh.
bought a hospital and a hurricane came through
Yeah.
and knocked it out. Yeah, I used to before I would play with my neighbor, we would set ground rules. Are we going to attack each other
Hmm.
or are we not? Because you could attack your opponent's
Yes, you
boat
could.
and you could put rebels on their island, but you
Correct.
didn't have to do that.
No, you didn't. That was a choice.
But if your friend put a rebel on his rebel on your
Well,
island,
then you got to retaliate.
and I guess that's how the world works,
That
right?
is exactly right.
Yeah.
And it's like, but that utopia is hard to achieve.
Yeah, I know. It really stinks.
That's why a lot of science fiction is dystopian futures, which
What's
is
dystopian mean?
like the opposite of utopia.
Okay,
It's
so
all F.
Utopia, we're working together?
Yeah, and the dystopia would be it's all effed up.
Yeah.
Some calamity has happened, some invasion has happened, and everything is all messed up.
Hmm.
And there's, nuclear fallout all
Yeah.
over the place, and bands of people just struggling to survive.
5G's getting us.
Yeah. So that is a common theme for science fiction.
Dystopia.
Yeah, and there's not many where it's just like, oh, everything is great and everything is always wonderful. Because who would read that book?
No one.
Right.
What do you think in your years of working in radio? What's been the biggest changes you've experienced, you think?
Well, just the technology where when I started, everything was on analog tape. We were we had reel to reel machines, and then you would have to edit with uh, a grease pencil, a razor blade, and then put it back together with splicing tape. And that was a skill because
Yeah. Did you have that skill?
I did.
Oh, yeah, I did not.
Yeah. And you used to see some horrendous splices. It was awful. And it would be all, when it would roll over the heads, it would, you just, it was worthless.
I
But
remember thinking, like, when they were showing me how to do that in my internship,
mhm,
I remember thinking, like, God, I hope they come up with a better way so that I don't have to learn how to do this.
yeah,
And they did.
they did.
Took a
A-
while.
And the like things that used to take literally an hour to edit if you were putting together some piece or something, or even trying to put together, a voicer with a an in, a piece of tape, and then an out. That would take you 5 6 minutes, and now with you could do it in under a minute with the digital technology.
So the technology at your job changed.
Yeah, it made us more efficient, made us better, made us faster, quicker. And again, when I started, all the commercials and a lot of the little clips and highlights that we used to play were on carts. You know what a cart is. For those who don't, it looks like an old 8-track tape, which a lot of people have never heard
Yeah,
of.
what if we don't know what that is?
Yeah,
Then
so it's
what?
like it's a little cartridge, a cart for short, that you would put into a tape deck and have to play it from there. And all our commercials were on those. So before your shift, you used to pull your first hour of carts of commercials, stack them up, and then it was a whole thing. And as a courtesy, then you would pull the guy who was relieving you. You would pull his first hour, and then you'd have things would be repeated. You'd be shuffling them, and all of the little drops and sound bites that you used to play, those were all on cart. I mean, you could imagine, if I had to have 20,000 carts in the control room with me to search for a drop. Oh my god.
Yeah, that would have
So
been.
for sure, I think really it's the technology. It would be the biggest thing from when I started to where we are now.
Yeah. We also have way more competition.
Yes.
Although I feel like we've always, like, most people consume the radio in their car.
Yes.
And we've always had competition in our cars
Uh-huh.
with the radio, CD player, or
Hmm.
cassette deck. Um, I guess those were the big ones. Now we have more like books on tape.
Well, we always
Well,
had
yeah,
that.
that's true. We did have
But
books on tape.
it's so much easier now
Yeah.
for a book on tape because it's downloaded on your phone,
Yeah.
and then all this other media podcasts that are available. And if you wanted to, you could listen and stream any radio station in the world through your phone,
Yeah. I
which
also
is
think one of the other big competitors that not a lot of people think of in the car is a person talking on their phone.
hmm
Like, if you decide your hour ride home every day is when you're going to catch up on phone calls,
right.
you're not consuming radio or
No,
podcasts or
nothing.
music. Nothing. That's
But
like a big competitor.
but I hate talking on the phone
Me too.
because it takes me away from what I'm listening to.
Yes. Oh, especially if, like, You're looking forward. You're like, oh
Yes.
man, I got to the good part of the book or the
Yeah.
podcast. Can't wait to get back in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're on the phone. It's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
oh,
So,
oh.
but I can't trying to think of something else that's as big a change from when I started to now.
Yeah.
And well, the nature of the industry has changed, and we're doing more with less people. That's a
Yes.
change. We used to have a lot of staff. We have little staff, but I think the most impactful would really be the technology.
Yeah. Do you think we'll have radio stars in the future?
Um, Never say never. So I'm going to say yeah. I would say yes.
Yeah.
And then, of course, if some calamity happens and there's a dystopian future, somebody sitting up somewhere with a transmitter and a
Yeah.
microphone, could be like the voice in the wilderness.
They'll start doing shows again
Yeah.
in this dystopian future. Have you seen any of the weird UFO related things going around online that people, there's two things in particular I'm thinking of that some people swear are real and some people swear is a hoax.
Mm.
One is this sphere, metallic sphere that landed in Colombia, and people think it's came from space or
Hmm.
another dimension or something. And someone has this sphere that they've been supposedly doing testing on and all these things, but it would seem to be a gigantic story, but it's really only big in the UFO community online,
Hmm.
which makes me think that it can't be real or more people would be looking into it.
Right. Unless you go back to the thing we started with, that you don't trust anything anybody says,
Yeah.
and they're not telling us.
Yeah.
They're sort of misleading us.
I believe it's called, if I'm pronouncing this correctly, the Beluga sphere.
Okay.
It's this metallic sphere that someone has video of flying in Colombia, and then also it crash landed and someone has it.
Why beluga?
I think that might be the part of Colombia maybe where it
Oh,
was found,
okay.
I think.
Because there's the beluga whale also. I was
Yeah.
wondering.
Yeah, that's why I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly because I always just see it written.
Hmm.
But I saw another thing about it today, and they're carbon dating on it and all this stuff. But
Who's doing this testing?
that's what I mean. It's like it's all these UFO feeds on Twitter. It's not like Harvard has the beluga sphere in
Right.
their test. It's all these like nothing in the United States with credentials.
Hmm.
It's like seemingly things in other countries with credentials, but I don't know if they're real credentials because I'm not in that country. So you got that one. Then there's a guy who claims that a piece of a meteor came to Earth, which is we know is possible, and he grabbed it and took it home with him. And over time, a something has grown out of it that looks like a giant alien spider,
Hmm.
and he's keeping it in his home, and he's putting it in a safe, and he's putting it in boxes, and it's seemingly growing and growing. That seems less real even than the beluga sphere.
Right. And I think you brought this up maybe with CeeLo on Friday or something. That's
Yeah, on
sort of
the air
like
real quickly.
that's like the plot of the 1957 movie The Blob with Steve McQueen. I believe he was in that.
I do recall the blob. This
Yeah.
was just this big
Yeah, it
slimy.
came out of a rock.
Oh, is that it grew out of a
Yeah,
rock?
out of a meteor. And
Oh,
then
okay.
the first guy in the woods who came across it, or a farmer or something, it got on his hand and it consumed him. And then it started to grow and would just keep eating people and ingesting them,
So it'd be eating people, and
just
as it's
kind of
moving along,
rolling over them. And then it would sort of engulf them and then consume them. And its mass would grow.
the more people it ate.
Yes.
And it was just going through cities and things like
Oh,
that.
well, this town,
A
not a
town.
city, it was a small town.
Yeah.
And then they found out that the they were running away from it, and they hid in like a meat locker in a grocery store or something. And when the blob put a tentacle in there, it was like, oh, it stopped and it moved back. So they figured out that it didn't like cold.
Ooh.
So they got a bunch of, I don't know if they were like fire extinguishers or something to sort of spray it all down and freeze it. And then military came with a helicopter and put a hook in it and then dropped it in Antarctica.
Where they always say there's a lot of
Right.
suspicious things
And there
going
was
on
a
there.
big question mark, the end question mark,
Yeah.
which is again a very common motif.
Yeah, the UFO people think there's a big base
Sure.
UFOs, and is that because we just can't
Because
get to
like it's an
Antarctica?
unexplored continent for the most part.
Isn't that weird that in
Yes.
2025 we still
Well, I
haven't.
mean, we can map it and see things now, so it's less of a mystery, but it's still like, not many boots on the ground, no large populations of people, and there are no permanent human settlements there. They're all research stations from various countries. That so nobody really lives there permanently.
Because it's
Although,
just too crazy cold and windy and
well, I
all
mean,
those
it's
things?
also right. It's not a hospitable environment, and there that it's not good for the human psyche to be in darkness for 6 months.
Hmm.
So people will there is a continual human presence there, but you wouldn't really call it a permanent human presence because the people that they're in and out, they'll stay for a while, then nobody like lives there forever.
Yeah.
And I think McMurdo base is our big base down there.
It is weird that there are parts of the globe that are still unexplored. Like when they go,
Well,
only 5% of our oceans have been
yeah,
explored.
the ocean floor is like a total mystery.
We got to get down there. Let's look
I mean, it's a
around, clear it up.
big planet, and they have kind of an idea of what's down there, but there's still you know a lot of mysteries.
Yeah.
And then you've heard of whale falls or no?
No.
When a whale dies and its corpse drops to the bottom of the ocean, wherever that is, however deep it is, there will be colonies of life that will, spring up around these whale falls because it's such a large source of food and everything. And, it'll last for a few years or as long as that whale body is still.
Things are down there eating it.
Yes, correct.
Whales falls.
Whale falls.
Whale falls.
Yes, that's a thing.
Hmm.
Which, is only, I guess, in the last few decades was sort of discussed and theorized and proven and looked at.
Hmm.
And the deep sea vents, that's another place where, because there's energy, and this is where, steam and heat from, the mantle, if you will, is coming through the crust under the ocean. And there's these vents of water, but they're mixed with all the stuff from the mantle, so they're providing some nutrients, and these are colonies of life that are existing without any sunlight.
Hmm. They like it dark down there.
Well, it's just how it evolved.
Whale falls.
Yes, and deep sea vents.
Hmm. All right, Eddie. I have to run and let my dog out.
I understand.
Tomorrow, Jerry will be back,
Hmm.
and we'll be doing the warm-up show at 5 a.m.
Yes, you will.
So
So